let's see. Yeah, there were actually 2 laborers that were found to have been misclassified, and they were not given that page that day, and they were not given their penalties. Mr. Speaker, generally another one. So in TRC Construction, this is a wage decision SJ 13-07168. And there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3 more laborers that were working, and they were misclassified. And once again, there were no penalties assessed. So, Mr. Speaker, generally, it creates some problems for folks in terms of trust. And Mr. Speaker, generally, what I see is probably happening with this bill, even though you didn't really go into it when you were describing it, is that one thing is going to happen. If this bill is passed, wages for New Mexicans, they're going down. Mr. Speaker, gentlemen, let me say that again. Let's be real clear what we're voting on here. If this bill is passed, especially with the track record of the department enforcing current wage law, or should I say lack thereof of the enforcement of current wage law, there's a real mistrust that this bill will result in anything but wages going down. And Mr. Speaker, generally, I sat up here for an hour and a half yesterday talking about some of the problems with wages in our society. Mr. Speaker, generally, it's actually really funny. Do you know, Mr. Speaker, generally, what the Gini coefficient is?
Mr. Speaker, could you repeat that?
Mr. Speaker, it's G-I, Mr. Speaker, generally, G-I-N-I. Are you familiar with that?
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Speaker, generally, the Gini coefficient is a fairly well recognized measurement of income inequality throughout the world. And for every time there's a 1 point increase in the Gini coefficient, there's a 7% increase in the infant mortality rate. Mr. Speaker, generally, that includes the United States of America. Every time there is a 1% increase in the share of income to the poor half of households, it reduces mortality overall by 21 deaths per 100,000. So, Mr. Speaker, generally, when wages go up, infant mortality goes down. When wages go up, less people in the population as a whole die. So, Mr. Speaker, generally, my worry here is that if we're voting on a bill that's going to decrease wages, which, Mr. Speaker, generally, this one looks like it probably will, not only are more people going to die, but you're going to see a statistically significant increase in the infant mortality of kids in the state. And, Mr. Speaker, generally, in the state where we're already first in childhood poverty, that worries me. Mr. Speaker, generally, once again, we're talking here, we spent so much time this session talking about crime. And Mr. Speaker, generally, there's a little bit of an irony when we're talking about crime, and yet crimes against workers aren't being prosecuted currently over and over and over and over and over again by the current Department of Workforce Solutions.